Hey folks, welcome back to the Big Barn Build. You've guessed it, more digger time, but progress made and a big week next week. Stick around and I'll show you what I've been up to. Right, done as much as I can down the other end. We'll dig out the ramp once we're done at this end. We need a wall, a footing between this steel here, that steel over there, just like we did along here. However, this wall is going to be so close to the edge of the pool that a little bit like the other end, these will be very, very close together, and therefore it doesn't make sense to leave any ground between. So what we need to do is have our 500 footing, which is essentially 250 from the center, or 200 from here out. So I need to dig the pool back to that line. Right, we're going to take a little pause from digging the back cave over there, and I wanted to just very briefly answer one of the big questions or topics that keeps on coming up on other platforms as well as here, which is, isn't this more of a new build than a barn conversion? And the answer to that is yes, hopefully. You know, in reality, we want to keep as little of this building as possible. It's not like we're restoring the big old stone barn over there, where we'd love to keep all the historic features, and you know, one day, many moons from now, we'll be doing something on that building and we'll be trying to preserve and maintain. Really, on this building we're keeping the structure, the size, the shape, the roof structure, as far as, you know, the pitch and everything like that. And don't get me wrong, we still are keeping materials. We've still got timber cladding all down the sides. All of that corrugated sheets from the end gables is all stacked. But to build it, we've got to kind of strip it back and start from scratch, and then we can start reintroducing old materials and new materials at the same time. So the big elements that have gone or will be going, the roof, asbestos roof. We wouldn't want to keep that, and no one should be keeping that, even though that's the only way we could get our original planning. Yes, we've kind of broken out the slab, but we would have had to break out so many areas of the slab. We were going to have all sorts of efficiency issues with building efficiency, as far as leveling out the concrete and things like that. There was just endless reasons why we did that. So call it what you want. It's really repurposing an existing structure, and it's a change of use. You know, it doesn't have a barn conversion, the sort of cliche typical barn conversion of it being a Cotswold stone barn or old stables or cow shed, you know, that's been there for 200 years. That is what people kind of familiarise themselves with, and then maybe a steel frame barn conversion is not quite the norm, so people weren't quite sure. But yes, it's a bit of a triggers barn, but we are getting one step closer. Now remember, when we first got our permission, for those of you who don't know, it was a Class Q. As part of a Class Q permission, you really need to keep as much as possible, and especially in our local authority, that really meant everything. Asbestos roof had to stay, all the existing walls. We weren't allowed to render the block work. We could paint stuff, but that was about it. The reason why we fought and went back in for the full app is so we could do exactly this, and that's keeping as little as possible, really. We still want to keep the feel of the building and the shape and the kind of style to some extent, but I would rather start from the ground up and try and have something that's going to last and we can be proud of, and not have constant compromises, because putting walls inside of steel work I didn't want to do. Just facing existing walls and not, you know, it didn't make sense for us to keep a 6-inch concrete wall and just face it with brickwork and put all the insulations internally, when we could have a 400mm insulated wall, which is kind of passive house standard, and that's what we've gone for. So loads of reasons why it's a bit more of a ground up build at the moment, but everything else is still here. The frame is still here, the size, shape, all those limitations we're working with. So it's just finding the balancing act of building what we want, building what we have to, and having something we can be proud of at the end of it. So we haven't been able to do crazy amounts of architectural details in the shape of the building, even though we tried, you know, to remove sections of roof and things like that and make it a bit more interesting. So from the sky, it will look the same, but, you know, we've introduced external areas under the same roof, and we think it's going to be great, you know, really interesting. It's not going to feel like a big warehouse, hopefully, and you'll be able to kind of build along or watch along the build with us. So we're going to get back in the pool, and I'm going to explain a little bit about what we're doing there. But if you've got any more questions on things, let me know. But we are trying to catch up with the videos. We're about a week or two behind now, and if you want to see a little bit more up to date, you can go on Instagram, and it might explain why it's a little bit brighter in here than it was last week. But let's get back in the digger. Well, I'm in the digger. Let's get back in the digger last week. That's pretty hard going, that. This is it's like a rock face now. I think we're deep enough. I think it's probably 2 more dumper loads in, but that's that T-section done. End of the pool's here. Wall between the bedroom will be here. Suspended slab, fill. That's the concrete footing for that post, so we'll be tying into that one. Same the other end. And then basically the other side, it'll be exactly the same, going the other way. This can all stay put, apart from me. We'll need a cup of tea. Well, that's all looking a lot better now, and one step closer to getting ready for that suspended slab detail, which I still haven't quite got my head around, but we're almost ready for the concrete. So all the footings are now dug. The concrete pours are happening next week. We're going to get at least 4 or 5, even 5 lorry loads in to get all of those done. We've worked out that we can get most of it done with the dumpers, which is going to be great, and hopefully it won't be too long before we're going to be getting the blocks in and up out of the ground and then start on the fun stuff. So if you've got any questions, like the question that was posed at the beginning of this video, let us know and we'll just kind of try and answer those in the next coming episodes. But hopefully that gives you a bit more of an explainer into what the building is, how we're repurposing it and changing it, and what we are or aren't keeping. We'll leave it there. Thanks to all of you for watching. Remember to subscribe. Head over to Instagram to keep up to date with the latest. But that's it. Thanks for watching. Remember, if you can, do it yourself, and we'll see you next time.